Hello, it's Concord Wind. It is raining outside. Um, Yesterday I went to the gym and what else? Yeah, there's not a whole lot to update on. Well, I'm getting my food stamps on the 14th, and since I found out you can order off of Amazon with food stamps, I've already got some things in my cart on Amazon. Got a 12 pack of sardines in Louisiana hot sauce, like they're canned in the hot sauce, and a 6 pack of anchovies, and a lot of salt. I need to be careful. um, but yeah, got those in my cart. And the reason why I'm getting the anchovies as well as the sardines is so the total cost of the purchase is above $35 so that I get free shipping because I don't have the money to pay for the shipping. I'll only have food stamps to cover the purchase, and I won't have money to cover the shipping. So I'm gonna get free shipping since it's over $35. It's $40 for everything. So I'll only have $95 to go to the grocery store, but that's fine because I'm not gonna be getting any like meat or anything, too expensive. I've actually got my grocery list right here. It's kombucha, whole wheat crackers, pico, queso, salsa, cayenne pepper, cumin, corn, tea, and creamer. And that's it. And $95 should cover all of that. I mean, I hope it does. Anyways, I mean, if it doesn't, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. All right. I prepared a passage of God's words. I was sitting like this, hurts my back, but this is like my reading position. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit like this while I read. I'm gonna have to sit up. Alright, right now we have finished fellowshipping on the 5 conditions that must be met to embark on the right track of belief in God. What are those 5 conditions? First, one must possess an honest heart. Second, one must have a heart that loves the truth. Third, one must have conscience and reason. Fourth, one must possess a God-fearing heart. Fifth, one must have a heart of submission to God. Remember these 5 conditions, fellowship about them, and pray read them when there is nothing else going on. See which truth principles you have put into practice during this time, whether or not your words and actions are honest, whether or not you have a God-fearing heart, whether or not you have an honest heart as you do your duty, whether or not you have a perfunctory state, whether or not you have thoughts of slacking off, shirking responsibility, or being deceptive, and whether or not you seek and are submissive to all of God's requirements. You must examine this periodically. Only by attaining results will your life progress. Amen. Yeah, so let me read those conditions, the 5 conditions that must be met to embark on the right track of belief in God. First, one must possess an honest heart. Second, one must have a heart that loves the truth. Third, one must have conscience and reason. Fourth, one must possess a God-fearing heart. Fifth, one must have a heart of submission to God. So let's start with honesty, an honest heart. And I didn't always have an honest heart. In 2022, I had to put effort into being honest. I made the decision and I made a resolution before God that I would become an honest person. Oh, my back. And So if you're not honest right now, don't give up. Just keep working on becoming honest. Second, one must have a heart that loves the truth. um, I've always had this. I didn't have to work or put any effort into having a heart that loves the truth. Third, one must have conscience and reason. Now, I haven't always been reasonable. I haven't always had much of a conscience, maybe a little bit of a conscience, but I had to kind of develop a conscience through, you know, getting my mind and my heart trained and used to practicing the truth. And then I developed a conscience where if I went against the truth, I would feel guilty and I would feel bad. And my conscience would prick my heart and make me feel that what I was doing was wrong. And, I didn't always, like, I used to be able to do things that were wrong and not feel anything. Fourth, one must possess a God-fearing heart. And that has definitely developed with time. I mean, I used to see God as like a friend, and now I see him as family. And I do respect him, and I do feel fear in my heart. Like, even though, like, I know looking at porn isn't like the worst thing ever, but like, when I do it sometimes, like, I feel fear in my heart that I'll be struck down by God. And fear isn't just trembling terror. I mean, it's mostly respect and admiration. And so I do feel respect and admiration for God. I love the dignity of God, and I'm aware that the dignity of God is well preserved. He his dignity is very much present, and that's something about God I really love and respect. I love that he has his dignity. I think that's amazing. But it's also intimidating because his dignity means that if somebody is disobedient towards him, while representing his church and while waving the banner of belief in God, they could suffer consequences, like severe consequences, because of the dignity of God, because the disposition of God tolerates no offense, and that is the dignity of God. Fifth, one must have a heart of submission to God. Now, this is something that this is probably one of my favorite, like, practices of the truth, is to submit to God. Like, having a heart of submission to God is something I really love doing. Because honestly, it makes life so easy to submit to God. Submitting to his arrangements, submitting to his words. I get to do what I love, which is do my duty. I get to, experience his sovereignty, which, I don't have the best discernment when it comes to his sovereignty, but I'm trying, and he's and in his arrangements, like, he's gave me a pretty laid back life, and I love it. And when I suffer, like, my back has been hurting, and when I suffer, that's under God's arrangements as well, and I experience that. And I'm thankful even for the suffering, and like I throw up and stuff, and like I'm thankful for that as well. I mean, I'm sure it'll get better, but until then, like, I feel as though God is very intimate with me. The fact that he's involved in my life to the point that He's allowing things to happen to me. He's arranging things to happen to me. He's providing for me. You know, he's very intimately involved with my life and the lives of all of mankind, you know, and as well as all the animals and the plants and the whole universe. He's very intimately involved with the whole universe and everything in the universe, you know, like he's involved with everything. And he holds sovereignty over everything. I mean, it's not just me, it's not just mankind, it's not just the animals, it's not just the plants, it's not just the weather, you know, it's not just the seasons. He is controlling and dominating the entire universe. His power is incredible, and to him it's nothing. To him it's nothing, like, but to us it's like we can't even fathom that level of power. It's incredible. But God created the universe, so of course he understands it, and of course he dominates it. You know, it's and that goes back to having a God-fearing heart. You know, and fearing God and submitting to God kind of go hand in hand. All of this goes hand in hand, actually. All five of these requirements, or these conditions, they all are connected, you know, and because if you submit to God, you want to be honest. And if you fear God, you submit to God. You know, like it's incredible. And as far as submission to God and other things, like I don't like try to separate myself from God's sovereignty. I try to experience God's sovereignty. And you know, like some people have suggested that I get a job, but I've tried that. You know, I've tried getting a job. Why would I fight against God's arrangements? You know, God has arranged that I'd be on disability, and I've had, I think, around 27 jobs, and I've either got fired or quit from those jobs. And 27 jobs, you know, that's nuts, you know. And yeah, so I mean, I gave it my best effort. I tried as hard as I could to keep a job, you know, and just stay stable, and you know, and I couldn't do it. And so I qualified for disability after all the failures that I had, you know, trying to keep a job. Like, I qualified for disability, and I got it. And why would I go against God's arrangements and try to get a job, you know, when he has deemed that I'm qualified for disability? And I do believe that it's more than just a court ruling. I don't think it's just a judge that has stated that I'm qualified for disability. I believe because God holds sovereignty over everything, he arranged I get the right lawyer. He arranged that I am the person that I am, so that he knew that I wouldn't be able to keep a job. And so it was his plan from the time I was born, and even probably before that, it was his plan for me to grow up and be on disability. That was always God's plan all along. And I'm very thankful that that was God's plan, because now I have time to do my duty. And if I had a job, I don't know if I'd be able to make these videos, you know? So, you know, God always has the best intentions for everyone. And he always knows what's best for everyone. So it is very wise to submit to God, submit to his arrangements, and submit to his sovereignty, because that's how you achieve the best outcome. You know, it's through your submission to God and your cooperation with God that you achieve the best possible outcome. And that's why it's so wise to submit to God. It's very wise. All right, that's it. So, thank you so much for watching. Really, I thank God that you're watching, because thank God that you watched, this far, listened, whatever. Even if you didn't watch, just listen. Like, thank God, because this is so beneficial. These fellowships are so beneficial. So, thank God. All right. God bless and goodbye.